problem with being passionate about a sport like calisthenics is that there is a lot of time in between your injuries, in between your training sessions. Like if you're feeling like you're in the flow and you really want to train, but your muscles are sore or your tendons are sore or you've got an injury, then it's kind of you're kind of in this limbo state. You're waiting to train, but you've also got this burning passion. You kind of want to do a handstand attempt or you want to do some reps. And it's great, right? But we've got to have the discipline not to do that. But that's not what this video is about. It's not about discipline of not training. Maybe another day. But today, I wanted to talk about what do we actually do with that time. Obviously, we have lives outside of this sport, I'd like to think. But when you have that burning passion when you're not training, how do you deal with that? One of the ways I've learned to deal with that and to kind of get the fire inside me, still burning and not to zone out and kind of forget about calisthenics or distract myself because it is something I care about a lot. One of the good ways is to actually study movement. And I'm not talking about watching YouTube videos, even though there are lots that are very good, but I'm actually talking about understanding the physics of the movement you're trying to learn. So for me right now, the movement that I'm trying to master is the handstand. My record in my handstand hold is like 17 seconds, but it kind of fluctuates, and because of I'm traveling right now, I haven't had a hold that long in quite a while. But I am improving my form and I'm studying how to get better at it. I'm studying how the movement actually works, and I wanted to quickly show you something like a diagram I drew a couple of weeks ago. Take me a minute to find it, but it is just one example of how it's here somewhere. I don't want to store you guys for too long. Here we go. And it's just kind of like a diagram with like notes in it. Don't know how well you can see that. But yeah, that's just one example, and I kind of did this a couple of weeks ago. You don't necessarily have to sketch things and even though it is helpful. We are visual creatures. We like to see what something actually looks like when we're explaining like things in terms of physics as well. But yeah, understand how center of mass works, what that means. Understand muscle contractions, understand the roles of all the different muscles in a particular movement, like the handstand, for example. When you are falling back towards your feet, you're going into underbalance. It is actually a very similar movement to the planche, right? And you probably know, if you know anything about calisthenics, how important protraction is for the planche. So kind of going along the same lines is if you're going into underbalance, you need a lot of strength and protraction in order to maintain that and in order to get back to the position you want, like a stable, straight line position, right? And I kind of discovered how important this was a couple of weeks ago, and I started to train protraction, even though I'm not training for planche, which is maybe an unusual thing for someone that isn't training planches, wants to like master the handstand. But now I understand the movement a little bit better, I can confidently train that way. And yeah, you don't have to obsess around every single movement. You just need to like kind of follow your curiosity. Don't overthink things either, and don't get down if you like misunderstand something and you have to relearn it. If you are the kind of person to stick to one way you learnt it and not have an open mindset, this will be hard for you, because I am probably wrong about handstands in some way. Maybe the way I just described is completely wrong and I just haven't realized it yet. But I don't have the chance to experience and learn new things while I'm not training. That is what the training is for. It's to gain the kinesthetic awareness, to gain a better understanding of the movement itself, and while I'm in the movement. And outside of it, all I can do is rest, recover, eat well, sleep well, understand the movement better. So my training program and my training ideas are more effective. So yeah, don't underestimate knowledge and learning while you're not training, because there is a lot of time. Maybe you train for 1 hour a day, or maybe you train for, I don't know, 1% of your week, for example. So I don't know how many hours that is, or 5% of your week is the time is training. That is a lot of free time that you probably also want to spend training, but you don't have the chance to because your body is recovering, right? So yeah, I don't want to ramble too much about, things like that, but yeah, study the movement you want to learn, rather than kind of just sitting around and waiting, oh, I'll figure it out when I get there. We can do better than that. And it's also a good pastime. It's not doom scrolling. It gives you a little bit of interest about yourself. It gives you a bit of it's kind of like a hobby in a way, right? So yeah, try it. Let me know if you already do it. I'm sure there are many people that already do this kind of thing. But yeah, study the movement outside of moving, if that makes sense. Thanks for watching.